Hi everyone, it's your boy Zach, and I just finished watching Star Trek Into Darkness for the 20th, 30th time. Oh my gosh, I love this movie. Now, obviously, I know my views on Star Trek franchise are pretty controversial, but I just want to emphasize this is not a bit. I actually do love this movie, and I'm going to talk about, besides just a review, I'm going to talk about one thing that's kind of the elephant in the room for most videos of, like quote geek stuff, sci-fi and comics. And that is plot holes and plot contrivances. Now, Patrick Willems did what I thought was a really good video on plot holes, and he was basically making the point that almost everything that people refer to as a plot hole is not actually a plot hole. That being said, if you don't know, I write comics, and I kind of had my first major release. I sold like 10,600 copies of a book called Jawbreakers Lost Souls. Just about to do a second a reprint on Indiegogo in like 2 weeks. But anyway, I got a lot of reactions to it. And one of the things that's very interesting to me was being on the other side. Now, I've done books before, but they got just a couple hundred sales. So I didn't really get a large amount of feedback. And usually it was just like, it was okay, it was good, I liked it. So I got some very, very detailed. In my watch later, I've got like 30 videos of people reviewing Jawbreakers Lost Souls. And one of the things that they talk about a lot is plot and plot holes. And it's this weird thing where I've been that guy for 20 years. I mean, going back to Usenet, rec.arts. Comics dot Marvel, complaining about, plot points and inconsistencies in Marvel comics. And then I forget which one was for movies, but I'd be talking about, Batman Forever says this, but in Batman Returns, they said this. And I especially remember with the Christopher Nolan movies for Batman. I liked Batman Begins okay. Dark Knight is a masterpiece, and I find Dark Knight Rises very, very frustrating. And one of the things, me and my son, we came out of that, and it's a really long movie. It's like 2.5 hours, and we just sat in the car, and for like an hour straight, we talked about plot holes, or what we assume to be plot holes, plot inconsistencies. And the thing I just kept thinking over and over and over again is Christopher Nolan's a smart guy, and he gives every indication of caring deeply for all of his movies. So why are there these weird things? Why does when Batman, when he's got like a nuclear bomb that's about to explode, why does he talk in his really slow Batman voice, talking to Gordon, who's pretty much figured out he's Bruce Wayne, giving him this really long speech with a nuke that's about to explode, and of course then he's not getting as far out into the ocean as he should go. And the thing is that writing and creating something is so fundamentally different than watching it or reading it, that it boggles the mind. So when Star Trek Into Darkness first came out, like I said, I was just kind of like I just like the first. I just started Star Trek 2009. Okay, I didn't really care about it. When a sequel came out, I was absolutely not interested. But I do like cringe, and I like roasting, and Star Trek Into Darkness got roasted to death. I was just trying to find some good, thumbnails for the video. And weirdly enough, there are not a lot of good thumbnails for this movie. It got roasted by geeks a lot, but the movie was very, very popular. It did fantastic. Um, but there was I read all of those, 50 point, 50 things wrong with Star Trek Into Darkness, and I just thought it was so funny, point out all this type of stuff. And then I caught it, I think, I don't know, on DVD or on cable like a year or two later, and the first time I loved it, and I've loved it every single time. That being said, I still notice plot holes and plot inconsistencies and really, really dumb stuff where you go, why did they put that in? Why is so much of this movie about 72 torpedoes that actually have people in them, and somehow that was able to work and nobody noticed? Hey, you're putting people inside these torpedoes. Because when you're writing it, at least the way I write, it's all about emotion. It's about emotion and characters and their interrelationships. I write these things, and people say, why is, I have a giant ape, and why is he like this? Because in this you say this, and in this you say this, and it's like, because the story isn't about the giant ape. He's just a plot contrivance, and it's silly on the face of it. It's a giant ape that's like 1,000 feet tall. I give like one sentence explanation of what he is. So it's like he's a gorilla. He's a regular gorilla from a different dimension, but when he went through a portal, it changed his size. There, that's it. So now he's a giant gorilla. I'm so dumb, I don't even know if gorillas and apes are the same thing. But anyway, even though he's right there on the cover, and the supposed plot is about finding him and then attacking him and then finding out he needs to be defended, it's not about him. It's about the concepts of loyalty of the team and their ideals and things that they're willing to fight for. So the fact that, I said this here and I said that there and they don't marry up, I know, I used to say, Christopher Nolan, how come you didn't have a pass where you just looked for plot holes? And I've got to say, as someone who later kind of, I'm making my living off of, selling my books, being a creator, I can't emphasize enough how much that it doesn't even... It's like, when you're going on a vacation and you're like, oh, make sure, you unplugged all the major appliances. Make sure that the oven isn't on. It's like, make sure the framulator isn't framulating. It's like asking someone to unplug a device that they don't even own. Plot, weirdly enough, is not anything important, at least to me, and apparently to Chris Nolan, and apparently to J.J. Abrams and all his little bad robot secret hideout crew. It just doesn't factor in at all. I think that's just part of the... and I'm trying not to be condescending. The creative mind doesn't focus on plot. And you might have plot as a framework, but it's just a framework for other things. And sometimes you'll be like, well, the people in the torpedo, it doesn't really work. And it's like, well, but it works in these emotional ways, and it interconnects to all these other different scenes. And if we pull it out, we basically have to write an entirely different movie. So we're just going to keep the pace, and we're going to work on the performance. And it's one of those things where, it did very well with normies. They liked it just fine. It warranted a sequel that I absolutely loathe. And I'm not even going to watch it to do a video, just even to roast it. I hate Star Trek Beyond so much. But anyway, so getting into Star Trek Into Darkness. Star Trek Into Darkness was a sequel to Star Trek 2009, which was just called Star Trek, but people call it Star Trek 2009. And it was the one where they were bringing back Khan. Now, back at the time, they kept saying, oh, it's not Khan, it's not Khan, it's John Harrison, it's not Khan, but it was Khan, and everyone knew it was Khan. And the whole contrivance about John Harrison, I think it was just one of those weird, I don't know, you had to be there type of things. But anyway, it continues from 2009 where Kirk, I'm not even going to say straight out of the academy, because he was still in the academy through an amazing set of coincidences and plot holes, ended up becoming the captain of the Enterprise. And it continues a indeterminate, they probably gave a star date. I don't know how to read star dates. It seems to me that it's about a year later. The movie came out, I believe, like 4 years after the Star Trek 2009. But in the world of Star Trek, it looks to be about a year later. Pike was very, very badly injured. I believe he's in a wheelchair at the end of Star Trek 2009. In this one, he merely has a cane and is kind of moving slowly. So, we cut to... it begins with a scene of them breaking the Prime Directive in a very silly way that is okay if you're fine with it. One of the big things is, why is the Enterprise submerged under the water just off the coast? Why isn't it just in space? And I will tell you why it's submerged underwater. It's submerged underwater so it can come out of the water and it will look cool. I was doing a video about Rob Liefeld on my other channel, and they were saying, oh, he's got these pouches. What are all these pouches for? Ha ha, these pouches. And I go, I know what all the pouches are for. The pouches are to look cool. It's a visual medium, and it's an emotional medium, and it's a performance medium, movies. It's not a plot medium. I would say the medium that's most geared around plot is probably fiction, novels. So they break the Prime Directive, and they do it to save Spock's life. They go back to Starfleet headquarters. Spock reports it. Kirk lies on his thing, and Kirk ends up getting demoted and sent back to Starfleet. He doesn't get demoted to first officer. He doesn't get kicked out. He gets sent back to Starfleet. This is just as someone who is in the military. It's like you're a captain and you get in trouble, so they send you to boot camp or they send you back to OCS. That's not a real thing. Nobody gets sent back to boot camp or OCS. You either get demoted or you get punished or you get put into the brig or you just get discharged under multiple different ways. Nobody ever gets sent back to boot camp. Now, in the Marines, at least 19 years ago when I was in, we had this thing called CCU. It was Correctional Custody Unit. And it was, I am not joking, a chain gang. You think chain gangs don't exist? Well, they did in 2000 and 2001 because when I went to SOI, we had at the same chow hall as the people at CCU. CCU were actually people in the fleet. They had graduated from boot camp. They had graduated from their MOS school, but they had gotten in trouble somehow. And instead of sending them to the brig, they would send them to CCU, which was, I'm not joking, it was a chain gang without chains. They would literally take pickaxes and break big rocks into small rocks. They would clean up the road. They would do all kinds of things. Anyway, getting sent back to Starfleet is not something that makes any kind of a sense. So Kirk gets demoted, but not that bad. He just gets Admiral Pike pulls some strings for him. By the way, I love Bruce Greenwood. He's good in everything. But as a middle-aged white man, all I think about every time I look at all of his performances is, I need to put on moisturizer. We age like frickin' salad, and he has 5,000 wrinkles on his face. Oh my gosh. But he's a great actor, and so he ends up being pulling some strings. He gets Kirk to be the XO. Honestly, I feel like they should have done like a storyline where he's the real father of Kirk, because he just it's not even just like a mentor relationship. Like, he's like a father to him. He recruited him. He's constantly, saving his career. But anyway, they end up there ends up being a terror attack in London, which forces. That was a yawn, and I'm not going to edit it out. It's like 2 a.m. They end up going back to Starfleet headquarters. Kirk figures out that this might have been the plan, so John Harrison, Khan attacks, and then Pike is killed. It's off to the races, and then Admiral RoboCop, as they say on Half in the Bag, Red Letter Media, Admiral Marcus, basically, Kirk volunteers to basically go, or not basically, he volunteers to go assassinate Khan, who's hiding out on Kronos. I gotta be careful. People say I keep screwing up Vulcan and Klingon in these videos. Klingon homeworld, and he teleported there with transwarp beaming to hide because they can't go there because things are tense. So Admiral RoboCop approves Kirk's assassination plan. They start going there. And this is where it gets really, really good. So I just watched the Orville, and I was complimenting it because the episode I saw called Blood of Patriots, they did kind of a classic Trek thing where they talk about a subject and they don't say, oh, this is the good way to look at it, and this is the bad way, and get on the right side of history. It's you have different characters, whether it be Kirk, Spock, and McCoy on the original series, or it would be TNG, it would be Picard and Riker and Troy. You would have different perspectives, and this one is they all have different perspectives on this. It's a assassination. It's like when they do that when Obama sent SEAL Team 6 or whatever. Hey, it's a kill or capture Osama. Everyone knows it's kill. Like, can you imagine if SEAL Team 6 would have captured him? Nobody pretends Osama went to go grab an AK off the dresser. Everyone knows he woke up and he sat there and they just shot him full of holes. Nobody really has a problem with it. Maybe some super hippies have a problem with it. Everyone was just kind of fine. Kill or capture, it means kill. When it's for Osama bin Laden, it means go kill him. It would have been so funny if SEAL Team 6, they would have captured Osama and they would have brought him back. Obama would have been on some screen talking to some generals like, when I say kill or capture, you understand I meant kill. I can't just say kill someone. This Obama, I know it's terrible. I'm good at Kingpin from Netflix. I'm not good at Obama. He's like, when I say kill or capture, I just meant kill him. He's Osama bin Laden. Gandhi would kill him. I would kill him. Bring him here and I will shoot him in the Oval Office and I'll pretend like I tripped. Kill him right now. What would be an interesting story if they actually did capture him and then they were like, take him back and kill him and then bring him back and we're just gonna say you shot him there. But anyway, so they go and basically Scotty, he's kind of like the moral voice. He's like, no, we're explorers. We're not soldiers, and this is not right. He quits. I would say Spock does the better thing in a kind of command structure. He agrees to go along and basically convinces Kirk to make this a capture mission. So they go there. They do capture him, although really he gives up because of the dumb plot, the subplot about the people in torpedoes. So basically Khan surrenders. But Admiral Robocop is trying to start a war with the Klingon Empire, so he's trying to purposefully get... he actually thought Kirk was going to assassinate him, but he also set up Kirk to have the whole Enterprise be attacked by the Klingons and be destroyed. He sabotaged it. So what we end up getting into is a bunch of plotty stuff with Admiral Robocop, the 72 super soldiers in torpedoes, Khan. But what really works for me is the emotional beats. Pike said, you didn't respect the chair. You haven't lost anyone. You don't know what it's like. You need to take this more seriously. So it's basically a story about Kirk maturing. He's no longer frat trek. That scene I hate from the first movie where he's doing the Kobayashi Maru and he's eating an apple and he's so cocky and he's doing finger guns. That guy is gone. You see a little bit of him at the beginning. Although honestly, he had a good reason. He's like, look, I did break the Prime Directive, but I was saving my friend's life. I had to do it. They saw a starship. They'll probably think it was an angel or something like that. Yes, we did change their destiny, but it was my friend. I had to save his life. But he does mature, and I really, really... All the emotional stuff works so good. And also the visuals. The visuals are cool. The pace is cool. The jokes are cool. Everything looks cool. The plot is pretty stupid. The subplot about the 72 people in torpedoes is god awful. But it just works for me. And I love this movie, and I've never stopped loving it. Whenever I saw it, 2013, 2014, whenever I saw this, I've probably seen it 20 times. I finally bought it. I'm pretty cheap about that. If anything's ever been shown to me for free on a plane or at a hotel, I know technically that's not for free because I paid for the hotel room or the ticket. But it always pains me to buy it, but I found it on Amazon Prime Video. It was like $7.99. I was like, I'm gonna buy this. I'm gonna own it forever, and I'm gonna love it. So anyway, although technically, do I still have to have a membership for Amazon Prime Video to access this? Like, if I would let it lapse, would I still be able to watch it? I think I would. Probably. Anyway, so thanks for watching. Subscribe, or wait, no, that's the stuff I do for my other channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll have another video up tomorrow. I think it's going to be the new episode of Star Trek Discovery. Thanks for watching. Bye.